I suspect most of our listeners will think it's had a pretty negative impact, but what does the evidence actually say?
I mean, the evidence is mixed. I mean, one of my frustrations is the inability of economists to answer straight questions with straight answers, and Brexit sort of exemplifies that to me. There has been an impact. The data reveals that trade flows have been affected, that the number of trading relationships between the UK and the EU has shrunk, which implies some smaller firms have dropped out of that export market. There's a ton of anecdotal evidence from firms that they've experienced problems in trading, that they've had to stop trading with the European Union. The figures give a mixed picture. So there are some oddities. For instance, our services exports have held up better than I think most people would have predicted. What we don't know is the degree to which that's because of COVID and the fact that now a lot of services are provided via Zoom, that actually some of the problems that Brexit would have created are no longer being created because we work differently. But in both export and import terms overall, we do see something that looks very much like a Brexit impact. One of the problems we have is there's so much economic noise at the moment with the cost of living crisis, with what's going on in Ukraine, with the tail end of COVID, that I think it's very, very difficult to try and pin precise numbers on that.
What about the other way around, when Rishi Sunak lists off all of the benefits of Brexit? Are there any on his list that you think, yeah, that's fair enough, that is actually a real benefit, that is something that wouldn't have happened if we hadn't left?
Well, our immigration policy is something that wouldn't have happened if we hadn't left, and that, of course, has significant economic implications, as every single OBR report makes clear. In economic terms, as for the rest, I mean, one of the curious things, and we're, nearly 7 years on from the referendum, is we don't really know what our post-Brexit economic model is, and until we do, it's going to be hard to judge the measures taken that wouldn't have been possible as a member state and what their impact have been. I think unless something spectacular happens, it is very, very hard to believe that those impacts will be anywhere near the scale of the hit to our economy of being outside the single market.